What's going on, y'all? 75 Junction. It's your boy Sherm. These are my co-hosts Eric and Ant. And Alter Shiino happened to enjoy our company so much last time that he decided to come back up here full time. So we'll be seeing a lot more of him. You happy to be here, man?
I am happy to be here.
Okay. You seem a little reluctant to say that.
Yeah, because you put words in my mouth, but it's all good.
Well, I asked if you was happy to be here. I didn't say you was, but...
And not before you asked that, you said... I enjoyed your company.
We not starting a podcast right here. Start that bitch over, yo. He's not
first
doing
of all,
this.
we're doing this all natural. Okay.
Oh,
so
that's natural.
All right. Thank you, sir. So,
I would Power Rangers.
Yes, sir. Power Rangers
Sometimes part time.
Yeah, part-time Power Ranger.
Gotcha.
So, I want to talk about the NBA. So it's getting a little spicy in the NBA. Y'all seen what happened with Draymond and KD?
I didn't see that. I just heard about it.
You ain't see it?
Oh, you didn't actually see it?
No.
Yeah, when you get the time, you got to go watch the video.
Okay.
Yeah, that junk is crazy. So basically, what happened was Draymond Green had taken the rebound. It was a defensive rebound. So Draymond took the rebound over Kevin Durant, ran it up the court, and there was like 14 seconds left on the clock, or like 10, something like that. It was a decent amount of time, but he forced the play, and he was trying to get it to Kevon Looney, who was open, and then in the process of doing so, he happened to turn the ball over because it's Draymond Green. He got a little clumsy. You know what I'm saying? Two guys close on him. I don't know what he was thinking.
He ain't got no hands.
Right. He had no business going and doing that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, when it's crunch time, we want KD taking the ball off the court because he's the one that can get the 2 points or the 3 points.
Especially with Steph off the court, that's their closer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
he's the second option, so he always needs to have the ball in his hands in crunch time like that. So Draymond really screwed that one up. So in the process of doing so, him and KD started jawing back and forth at the bench, and Draymond, from what I heard, called him a bitch several times, and also brought up his free agency. And I think you said he mentioned something about they was winning without him.
He said something along those lines. But the thing, I think what it is like, I think KD would have been cool with it if it stayed on the court.
Yeah.
But Draymond took it into the locker room, like kept it going. So it's like,
I heard something about Draymond say something about like sitting out for a game to see if y'all.
He got suspended for a game.
Yeah, he got suspended.
He got suspended for.
He got suspended without pay for a game because of conduct that was detrimental to the team.
Okay.
I kind of feel like it could have been repairable. Not that KD would have stayed anyway, but if they hadn't suspended Draymond, I think that sent a sign to him that the organization's backing KD and not
not even just a suspension.
Like
it's the fact that the teammates was on the side of KD as well publicly. Like they were in interviews saying Draymond was out of pocket. So it's like, where does your loyalty lie? Like, I've been here. He's the new guy. Like, I've been here.
I don't think it's more so a matter of loyalty. I think because at the end of the day, it's if you tripping, you tripping.
I mean, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if one of y'all say something that's crazy, I will check you.
Regardless of seniority, whether
Did
it's
you really
a rookie.
think it was worth the suspension?
Absolutely.
What Draymond
Yeah, because he did it in front of the fan base too. Still, like they were on the bench.
Yeah, that's a brand thing.
You know what I'm saying? So
Because Golden State's brand, even like you talk about Curry himself is the good guy, get along with the people, all that, and then to have that friction like that in front of fans, that's not really their vision.
Absolutely.
Not what they portray though. But
Exactly. So you're ruining the culture in a sense that you guys work so hard to build. So that's detrimental to not only your team but the fan base too, because the fans are now getting nervous because they're like, oh shit. We've been killing people for the past 3 years.
So you want everybody to
be
Chris Paul basically and fake it?
I think what it is I think what it is that the league acted like that because to that fan base, like he was saying, it could be detrimental to the fan base because in the fans' mind they're thinking KD's a free agent after this season. That can affect KD bouncing before we even get to San Francisco.
Right.
And that's they plan because they moving venues next season. Like to me, without KD going to San Francisco, it's like we just going to San Francisco. Like,
what do you mean? Without KD, they're still a championship contender.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, but
so you would want to retain KD though, regardless. You know what I'm saying? You'd rather have
you definitely would want KD.
But I feel like KD's leaving for a bigger reason than that. I feel like KD's leaving.
It may be, but it's nothing we can see.
Right.
He needs to get a ring without Golden State.
He might feel that way. I think he went to Golden State because he just wanted a ring, or he wanted multiple rings.
Right,
whatever.
and now he wants to chase the ring on his own.
Granted, I think the situation with Draymond, like, I don't think anybody was that surprised about Draymond's, the way he reacts, because you already know Draymond's very emotional.
Which is why
he did certain things that were kind of messed up. So he kind of has that reputation.
Well,
but like you said, it was more about the KD thing, maybe.
It was more about the KD thing, and it's the fact that he took it into the locker room still after. Like, he kept it going when it was over. Yeah. And the suspension is not just like a situation with just Draymond. Like, if that situation was to happen with Brandon Ingram and LeBron, they would get suspended too. Like, the league is cracking down on that because one thing I will say, like, I'm not a fan of Golden State. Basketball is basketball, but Draymond Green has gotten away with a lot of tactics like the last 4 years. If you sit down and watch the game, he does a lot of dirty things. Like, the rest will watch him call another player a bitch and not say nothing. Like, and it's only for him. Like, if Giannis was to do the same thing, that's a tech instantly. Like, Draymond Green can call you a bitch 3 times before the tech is finally called. And, like, so the owner was just like, yeah, we got to stop doing that. We can't be showing favoritism in terms of players. That's why I like the suspension with the fight with Brandon Ingram and all of them, because it shows even a superstar caliber player, you ain't safe either.
Oh, no, fighting. Players have always been suspended for fighting.
Of course.
That's always the thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
but I feel like it's more like a slap on the wrist with the suspension sometimes, though.
Depending on how serious it is. I mean, unless it was like a Ron Artest type shit where you're going to the crowd and hitting fans.
They tweak.
He was suspended for like a whole season.
Yeah, he should have.
That was way over. That was a
malice in the palace. Malice in the palace.
Yeah, that was. I ain't gonna lie though. I was hyped.
Oh, like, yeah, NBA. Because NBA team's liable for that when you hit a fan. Like,
granted, if I understand Ron Artest is a street dude, so it's like, I don't care if I'm at work. If you throw a beer on me, you finna catch these hands, but you at work, bro.
The dude's face you at work. When he was walking up to it, was kind of like, oh, he's actually getting this close.
Right.
I was like, justice has been served.
Right. I'm like, what you thought was gonna happen?
It's like that person that's talking shit behind the internet, and you finally pull up on them, like, what's good?
You just happen to open the door and you right there.
But, like, do you got, like, any, like, projections on how you think free agency is gonna go? Because I didn't realize it until I, like, was looking at it last night. Free agency has actually got some big fish in it.
Yeah, so I know Kevin Durant's gonna be a free agent, obviously.
Kawhi is a free agent.
Yeah,
Kyrie.
Kawhi is interesting.
I believe. Thompson. Yeah, AD's not technically a free agent, but he can opt out if he wants to opt out his contract. Anthony Davis.
Oh yeah,
he can opt out of his contract if he wants to.
How long is the Greek Freak in this contract for?
He ain't going nowhere.
Nah, but I think he can opt out this year, but I don't think he... especially how they're playing now. I think they finally got a team that's gelling.
Yeah.
And they're looking...
Milwaukee
looking dangerous, bro. They looking dangerous. I'm telling people.
How long is Chris Paul signed to Houston?
I think he signed 3.
I think he signed a 3. I thought it was 2-year deal.
It might be 2.
I thought it was.
So
actually, it might be ending up this year.
Yeah,
because this is the second year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It might be 2 or 3.
I want to see Kawhi. Man, if Kawhi would go to the Lakers, bro.
No,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
That's the talk that's happening.
That'd be sweet, bro.
You
could restart. You could restart the whole team with Kawhi and LeBron.
But I think Kawhi don't want to play with LeBron though.
I don't think he does either.
And honestly, I don't think LeBron wants to play with Kawhi either. Honestly, so
tripping.
You never know.
I don't think he does.
It's just the fact that they're 2 huge names.
Have you ever seen? Here's the reason why I say that is when LeBron wants to play with a player, and people don't realize this. They don't give LeBron this credit. If LeBron goes public and say, "I want to play with this person," he has played with that person.
Oh no, they give him his credit for that. They say all the time, like, he's basically like part of management when he goes to a team.
But see, they give him that credit negatively though. Like, they don't show not like 9 times out of 10.
It's like sarcastic.
Yeah, like LeBron actually puts in the work to get free agents to come and play with him. Mm-hmm. And they be like, yeah, well, LeBron's, you know what I'm saying? They do it sarcastically. But like this season, they was like, yeah, LeBron better want Kawhi. Like, he better do this. Like, he don't have to play with Kawhi.
I'm just saying, you want another ring? You want a ring in LA? Kawhi.
If he wants a ring in LA, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is gonna be the big fish.
Anthony Davis.
Because Anthony Davis is a very versatile big in the sense that he has the handles of a point guard.
If Anthony Davis can just play one healthy full season, one healthy full season, people will know.
I mean,
because he did damage in the playoffs last year for his first time.
Do you think Anthony Davis is enough to stop Golden State?
I think Anthony Davis with LeBron James.
Yeah.
You think so?
Now they'll need.
I'm not sure.
They'll need better role players though.
So Rondo would be great though, because he's a great facility.
And they played with each other, AD
75
and
points right there.
Rajon Rondo.
Right. Speaking of which, Rondo's out for like the next 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Bro,
Anthony Davis is a
saw
walking
that.
triple
Yeah,
double
that was-
though.
yeah.
He's legit a walking triple double
Davis, yeah.
every game, like easily.
Well, I don't know, man,
He's
because
really
if they
fragile.
do go against Golden State, though, Draymond Green gives Anthony Davis trouble every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Like his field goal percentage, I'm not gonna throw the percentage out because I don't know, but it's very low against Draymond Green.
It's usually low,
Yeah.
lower than it would be.
So, I mean,
But I feel like that's
It's anybody's
because
guess.
Draymond can kind of key in on him as well, because it's like if the ball's not in AD hands in New Orleans, whose hands is it in? Especially with DeMarcus Cousins leaving,
Right.
Like who's the offense? The offense has to go through him.
Right.
Like with LeBron and AD on the same team, that pick and roll, that'd be something serious. That pick and roll be
it
something.
was wild seeing, going back to the Draymond and KD thing, Boogie Cousins being the mediator,
Yeah.
talking to Draymond like, all right, bro, I understand, but just take it down, look.
Oh, trying to calm it down.
And Draymond's like, no, fuck that, fuck. Like he's just like going off, mouthing off. I'm like,
DeMarcus just doing that because he's not on the court right now. But
Yeah, true.
we'll see regular old DeMarcus in January.
Yeah.
we'll see him back.
back in rare form.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, I could see him and Draymond arguing as well. Because their personalities is like the same. So
Yeah.
I definitely see that coming.
Definitely
if Draymond isn't traded.
He's not going to be traded. They're not trading Draymond, man. I mean, I think people are looking way too deep into this. Because, I mean, every great team has had altercations with their great players.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, but I don't think
not
KD
everyone.
is not the guy
Not
you want to
everyone.
have the altercation.
Like
KD is
Spurs.
very sensitive.
He is very sensitive, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I think he understands the game, and I think he understands that he can build a championship legacy in Golden State in the sense that he can have continuous rings if they hold that core together. And Golden State's management's willing to do that, but the players obviously have
Do
to
you even
work that
think
out.
Clay is gonna do that?
I absolutely think Clay's
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
think
it.
so, too.
Because Clay is a very selfless player, and he has announced many times that he wants to stay with Golden State.
Right.
Yeah.
So Clay is not going anywhere of
I don't
choice.
think he is.
So
Unless
speaking
Golden
of
State
legacies,
trades
though,
him,
like,
which
do you
won't
think
happen.
that KD's legacy will take a hit because he joined this super team?
I don't think so. When everything is said and
Nah.
done, people gonna look back at the rings.
So that's the same thing I say.
They all gonna look back at the rings.
I would say the
So-
same.
so
I
They're
agree
gonna
with
look
you.
at the ring.
I
but
agree
they're
with
gonna
you, but
say,
I know how
look at
certain
this
people
team.
look at it like, well, without Dwayne Wade, LeBron wouldn't have his first two. But I was like, first of all, LeBron carried that team to the finals
Right.
both times.
But that's
Does
different.
anybody
We've
say that
seen
anymore?
we've seen many teams with a big three. That's like
that's of course, and I agree with you because everybody's saying that LeBron started this
whole
big three
nother
thing.
monster.
How when
No,
Boston was the
no,
original
no,
big
yeah.
three, like
Yeah,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
started it. No.
Kevin Garnett.
right.
And
That's
then
not
do you
even
count?
a
What
legitimate
about the
conversation,
Spurs? Do you count that?
Oh, you talking
Was
about
it
I
like
do, but it's
Mark and
that was like drafted though. Like, you know what I'm saying? They didn't trade
It
and
was
get
natural,
nobody.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just flowed that
They
way.
got Parker, and then they had
Ginobili.
And I think-
Ginobili,
And they have like a
And I think Tim
Spurs
Duncan was the
always
only
has a
top
team
10 pick
system,
out of
too,
them.
like-
who you said Duncan?
I believe Duncan was the only one that was picked top 10 out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because Ginobili was a second rounder. I believe
I
Tony
remember.
Parker went very late first round. So it's like nobody expected them to
Yeah.
be who they are.
But in regards to his legacy being tarnished, because I mean, people will say like they'll talk about Bill Russell's 13 rings. People will see 13 rings and be like, wow, that's great and that's
Right,
phenomenal.
right,
and
right.
some people will look into why he has 13 rings.
Anybody
and see,
who watches
why.
basketball
You know what I'm saying?
or knows who he is will argue that if you were to say he's better than Michael Jordan because of rings.
right, that's
But
not the right argument to have.
it's not the
because
right
when he was
argument
in
to
the
have.
league,
That's
it
my
was
whole
completely
point.
different.
But that's the thing. The reason why that's not the right argument to have, because if you're going to eliminate the ring situation and be like, Michael is still a better player than Bill Russell even without the rings, then that changes the whole landscape of the LeBron James and Michael Jordan conversation. Because the only thing that people can say is MJ got more rings. That's legit the only thing people
Well,
can
it's
say.
not only that he has more rings; it's the clutchness in which he got them. So I will say that Michael
my thing
Jordan's
is-
definitely more clutch than LeBron
but-
James.
But
Yeah,
he's
in
also
his
been
career.
put. But here's the thing: it's Michael Jordan was given more moments because you look at the stats. LeBron James has more clutch walk-off shots made than Michael Jordan. His field goal percentage is better. Like, that's an actual stat.
Well, see, what I feel about it is, for one thing, when you're comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron James, the times of basketball are way different. So the way the play style was, the type of players you had, you didn't have like a stuff like that.
Right.
Unless you had.
But you can look at it, you can also switch the pendulum too. Like, they say Michael Jordan's undefeated in the finals. Cool. But You can also look at it and say
times.
he's been more times, but how many times was LeBron James eliminated in the first round of the playoffs? I don't think he's ever been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
That's true.
His whole career.
No, yeah.
Like Michael Jordan,
I was saying
3
that to
times.
him about. I was
times.
like, what about them times that he didn't go?
You know what I'm saying? Like that matters. There's been times where he didn't get there. Michael Jordan didn't get to his first finals. I don't believe until Scottie Pippen got there.
And Michael Jordan, I don't think
he won a playoff series until Scottie Pippen got there.
16th season.
Yeah.
I think why that's always a conversation because at the end of the day, the goal is always to get the rings.
Right.
At the end of the day,
Absolutely.
when you're in the NBA and you're on a team, that's what LeBron wants. That's what
But
everybody.
LeBron also put some of
NBA
this pressure on
wants.
himself with the not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4
That was
ring
one mistake,
conference.
man.
It was. Come on. First of all, you know I'm a LeBron fan, so it definitely was one mistake. And to me, he was catering to his fans. Like people do that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
The only person, in sports that ever got away with like saying they was gonna win something big and did was was it the first Super Bowl? The Jets and the Colts and the quarterback for the Jets. I forgot
You
his
just comment
name.
by yourself, bro. You talking about something I don't know about.
Yeah, but he said on TV like he was gonna win and they won. Nobody else has really pulled that off.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
forgot his name.
Kobe
Joe
said-
Namath.
don't they-
That's his name. Joe
Don't
Namath.
they always say that we're gonna win it? Like, do
No,
they ever say they don't?
They always say, we're gonna try to.
But I feel
I
like
mean, yeah,
I
they
feel
do
like
say that.
I feel
They
like
do
with
that.
LeBron
This
is
dude's like,
automatically
yo,
docked as
I'm
the
gonna be
bad guy
We won
because
it.
he's
Yeah.
cocky at times. But Kobe was cocky his whole career.
except for boxing.
His
Exactly.
whole
What do you
career.
mean about that?
Like, you know what I'm
Boxing, they
saying?
always, I'm gonna beat you to the ground. And
Oh yeah.
man.
These guys having their own conversation.
Right. But yeah, nah, like I don't know. People pick and choose who they want to hate in the NBA. That's just how it goes. That's why LeBron haters. I don't even argue with him no more. Like we got our 3, so we good over here. Like especially Melo fans, y'all have no ground to stand on.
Yeah,
Period.
Melo's getting done dirty right now.
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
He's
I
definitely.
haven't seen Melo fans being loud since when? Like,
Denver.
Denver. That's about
Because they
it.
can't really
I
say
wouldn't
New
go that
York.
far.
I would say
New
like
York
in his
is ball.
beginning,
Nah,
few
you can't
years
say
in New
New
York,
York.
but that's about
He
it.
was alright in New York at first.
No, he wasn't.
What?
No.
They were dismal. They never won a playoff series.
Carmelo.
They
Anthony,
never won a playoff series.
The
has always been
season
good.
wasn't that bad.
Because you got to think you playing in the East.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. The
Playing in
season
the
wasn't
East.
that.
So Carmelo was always averaging over 20 points.
He
but
had
He
to,
was the
though.
only one that was doing
Yeah, he had
good
to.
on the team. One person's not gonna win. I mean, unless
LeBron eliminated
James, you know
that.
what I'm saying?
LeBron James
The team
eliminated
like
that nigga 4 times straight in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They was the
But
8th
that's
seed.
another reason why Melo's. I feel like LeBron kind of tarnishes Melo's legacy in general because he's always been compared.
But you just can't say just him though, because you got to think everybody in the top 5 of their draft has a ring except Melo. Everybody 1 through 5 has a ring except Melo in that draft class.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with that. Hey, Eric.
And you know what I'm saying? So
So Eric, you had a little Facebook altercation earlier this week. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
what?
Wow, you gonna bring
What
it
is
up.
this?
It all ties in. Just trust me.
I don't know nothing about
So
this.
this lady,
be good.
this lady, she picks her daughter up from the school bus, which happens to be the stop is on a main road, kind of like a highway. When the sign comes up, when the bus stops, people don't stop; they continue to drive, which is obviously dangerous for children.
It's illegal too.
So she called the police and kind of had like a little setup arranged so that the next day when the bus came and she was recording it, when they passed by, the police blocked the street and gave everybody that passed a ticket. Great, cool. Now, as she was getting her, revenge or whatever, she's kind of screaming and hollering and cursing. So I commented, if it's about the kids, why all the, screaming and cursing? I completely agree with her point, though.
Mm-hmm.
Some, extremists, on Facebook, some trolls just like, you're an idiot, told me to shut the fuck up, all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just proceeded to tell him, like, hey, first of all, learn how to speak, or disagree without pouting like a little girl.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you're choosing to ignore the fact that I agree with what this woman's saying. And if you're about the kids as well,
Why does the rest of that matter?
Right. And he's just saying that it's irrelevant because that's not killing kids. And I said, it is killing kids because if you run around handling situations like you do, and speaking on the internet all wildly, like, oh, I can say whatever, somebody might go around and smack you or do worse. You know what I'm saying? So I was just telling him, like, raise your kids and not be impulsive and talk like that, because you more likely to get shot from running your mouth than you are to get hit. You know what I'm saying? Get off the bus.
Absolutely.
Right. So yeah, and that's a big issue that we have in our society, in my opinion, because people will get behind the internet and the guys of the internet, and they'll say whatever they want to say to anybody,
and they feel safe.
They feel safe because they have that anonymity, in a sense. You know, unless it's Facebook, obviously you can see their face, you know their name,
right.
You can look them up above records, find their address. If you want to be that extreme with it, you want to find out and you want to do something about it.
Right.
But regardless, people have this comfortability where they'll go on the internet and they'll be just terrible human beings without any concept of any repercussions of their actions, without having to worry about anything. You know what I'm saying? And it's selfish in the sense that, why do you think that you could talk to me that way? You know what I'm saying? But if you saw me in person, you wouldn't even think to even talk like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just.
Do you feel like some of that could be examples they're getting from like celebrities and stuff? Because in their field, you see stuff like that happen all the time, where they talk kind of crazy and stuff, but you kind of understand from the circumstances that probably nothing's gonna happen because they're such in the spotlight. They got security.
Right. So,
even if they meet up at the same place and see each other, like, most likely nothing's gonna happen.
Like the Nicki Minaj
everybody's watching.
But that was a difference though, because Nicki didn't believe that Cardi was about that life. That's where the difference.
But I think all cowards know the game. Kind of like in high school, where like the kid that would fight you when he saw the security guard in the cafeteria.
Absolutely.
He knows he only has to endure 30 seconds of fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But see, at least from my experience, like in a public, like for celebrities, that would get breaking up. Like the Cardi Nicki, broken up, right? It didn't really go like a real fight. But in public, at least from my experience, people stand back and watch. Nobody's trying to break it up. Exactly. They're like, I don't want to get involved. He may have a knife. He may have a gun. Yeah. I don't want to get in the mix of that. Absolutely. And I mean, I feel kind of the same way too. I don't get involved unless like maybe he's like sitting there just beating his face and he's defenseless. I may do something.
I'm not getting involved either way because I don't know what he did. He could have killed his mama.
I mean, no, still, you don't want nobody to die. It doesn't matter. It goes to jail.
If you kill somebody's mama, I'm gonna let go and let God.
I get that.
I don't think the reference was
and honestly
the right one, but
honestly,
I feel it though.
Regardless, you're right. You don't have to. That is your choice to step in.
But that would be your you would feel compelled to.
Maybe it depends on the situation.
Right.
Absolutely. Situational.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What if you get killed?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. What if I get stabbed up or something? Because I'm
trying to defend
about
somebody else.
Else's situation, and then come to, like, for instance, I don't agree with men hitting women. At the same time, I kind of feel how you feel. Unless something's getting really, really serious, I'm not jumping in that because I don't know what happened. And yes, it's wrong for a man to hit a woman, but you don't know what happened with that woman. What if she beating up on him? You know what I'm saying? You don't know.
I actually saw that one time.
I've seen it a couple of times.
When I was the first watch.
A man beating a woman?
No, vice versa.
Oh,
I went to first watch and like this girl was arguing with her man or whatever he was. So I don't know, baby daddy, whatever. They was arguing, going back and forth. She was throwing stuff out the truck at him. Then she started like hitting him in the face. I was like, this is real. I didn't get involved. I ate my damn first watch. You know, I had my little trifecta, my Belgian waffle, my eggs, and my bacon.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, and maybe it's a little messed up to kind of assume that the authorities already been notified and they're already on the way. Because I assumed like this has been going on for a while because they was doing this when I pulled up.
Right.
So I was like, this has probably been going on for a while. So they're probably already en route to break this up. I didn't think it was my place. I didn't see it getting very serious. I mean, aside from her hitting him, obviously, but it comes to a point where it's like, all right, it's a grown man. He can probably take the hits.
Right.
Exactly. That's where I was going to say.
But when it flips roles, if it's a man hitting a woman, obviously, you know, a woman structurally is not built the same as a man, so she won't be able to withstand as much of that. And
here's
that sense,
my
I probably
thing,
would have got involved. But
you can't ask for equality and then take the shortcuts with these little double standards. I'm not saying a man should hit a woman. We all know men are built different from women. All I'm saying is in that situation, right? She knows she's a woman. She's been a woman her whole life. So maybe she used what she knows how to use to get to him the same way her punching him is?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm not getting it. Again, if he starts stomping her face in, all right, like, let's calm it down here, right? But in the case of, like, two men fighting to the death, I don't know what that man...
So, I mean, me personally, the way I was raised, if anybody put their hands on me, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be handled like that. Now,
me?
Right, so now hear me out. So me personally, right, if a female is assaulting me, I'm going to try my best to detain her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like hold her arms, like do something, like
Absolutely.
yo, chill out, like you're wilding. You know what I'm saying? I want to try my best to make that situation diffuse.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only take so much. I don't care who you are, bro.
You be knocking bitches out.
No, geez, here we go.
Oh no!
Take it serious,
See,
man.
I
exclusive.
I have the benefits of when that situation happened, because I don't know if I was hanging around with you at the time or if I knew you yet, but I don't know why when I first moved to K-Straits, females just love to put their hands in my face. I don't know what it was. Like, they would, like, just slap me in my face.
And what did you
Well, young.
I see, I'm the type of person that I never had to put my hands on a female because I have 4 sisters that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I got 3 older sisters and 1 younger sister, and so as soon I was quiet.
Let me put this disclaimer out there. I've never hit a woman before.
Yeah, because Eric did try to pan that over there.
I never put myself in that position. But what I'm saying
Allegedly.
is, if people went with the golden rule, do unto others you want done unto you. Don't put your hands on people. You know what I'm saying?
If that was the case, the whole world would be a better place.
It would.
Absolutely.
Obviously, that's thinking objectively, and that's me being unrealistic. But if people did have that mindset, we wouldn't have these issues. But at the end of the day, my bad. At the end of the day, I think that we need to look at it in the sense like, you don't touch me, I won't touch you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, people can only take so much. If a female is dicking in your face 15 times, you've asked her to stop, and you're not doing anything, she's gonna get rocked in the jaw one time. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing that bothers me more than seeing somebody, because abuse goes both ways. Because men get abused by women too. And it's just accepted because a man.
Sherm.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So it's just accepted because a man is, burly or burlesque or whatever.
It's the standard. Yeah,
it's a double standard there. But we want equality with everything. Until it becomes.
I completely feel you on that.
Until it comes to something where it's
except for the
like,
part where you knocked her out.
I didn't say knock out. I said hit it once.
I'm sorry.
Just it's self defense. That's what it is at that point. So do you disagree with like the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation?
I think Chris Brown. I mean, my whole thing, man, as much as bad as it sounds, bruh, I just think you should just get away from the situation. Like,
you can't.
But he tried though.
He tried. He was driving the car.
Rihanna admitted this, that he tried to walk. He did, and he tried to walk away, and she grabbed his nuts. She had him by his nuts, and then she started screaming, "He's trying to kill me."
You can try and be passive with it all.
So you telling me, all right? So
I'm not saying he didn't
use the one hit,
bro.
Right?
Chris Brown
that didn't do enough.
Did you not watch it? You ain't watched Chris Brown's documentary or whatever? You watched it? Mm-hmm. Like, he admitted that he overdid it, but he also admitted that he was diagnosed with being bipolar and schizophrenic. So he blacked out when he hit her. It wasn't like he intentionally wanted to hit her, but
emotionally,
like he's sick. Chris Brown is a sick man at the end of the day. Like,
and not to mention the fact that Rihanna has a track record of abuse. She's done this before, and she had been doing it the whole time. Mm-hmm. I don't think we should excuse abuse because we're men, and we just, you know what I'm saying. And it's easier to say that you wouldn't do that if you've never been in that situation. You know what I'm saying? You haven't been put in that situation before where you're consistently assaulted and you're trying to defend yourself. It's easy to say, I would do X, Y, Z.
The thing with that situation...
You never told me that, so I'm just going to base on what you told me.
The thing with that situation as well is we seen all the pictures of Rihanna's bruises and all that, but nobody ever seen the pictures of Chris Brown's bruises, though.
Well,
like,
that's just how...
Of course, though. But I'm saying, if you're going to put that out there, put the whole story out there. Don't just put half the story.
Well, that's
the
one
equality. Here's my thing with the world. Like,
be careful now.
We're all so sensitive, right? We all want our rights. We all want this. But do we? Like, let me ask a question. Ladies, if you want a man to pay all your bills and every time you want something, just throw money at you, do you really want to be treated equally? Do you really want to make major decisions?
I don't think there's a lot of women that think that like that in this day and age.
No,
nowadays,
not really.
the pendulum has swayed in the sense that women are capable of making more than men now.
But I definitely don't think that it overpowers the amount of women that want a man to take care of them. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a lot of strong independent women out there. They've become overeducated than us as well. But it's still a lot of women that'll go get a degree and still go sit up under their man and make $40,000 a year because they don't feel like doing anything.
That's their choice.
But what I'm asking is, do you want to be treated as an equal when you don't want to? Like, so when I look at marriage, right, I look at it as teamwork. Yes, I understand that taking care of kids and these type of things, but every man is not like me. If I have kids, I don't have a problem, and I'm sure Shiino can speak to this as well. He don't have a problem taking his kids to the doctor. He don't have a problem going to his kids' school. He don't have a problem getting groceries. He might not have a problem with cooking or cleaning or doing and that type of stuff. So if you can't offer those simple things, right? Let's be honest. Like, it's a lot harder to go to a job for 8 hours a day and get told to do something constantly and learn new information than it is to take your kid to the doctor or cook a simple meal. So as a man that can do both, right? What do you bring to the table? Oh, when my man need a back rub, okay, great, that's a back rub. I can give you a back rub, go to work, and take care of my kids. What can you do now? Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I feel like I've wanted to do 10 times more for the women who do for themselves than the women that don't do anything because they're simply just sitting up under you waiting for your next move. Or they contemplate their own dreams, but they have to be moved at your pace, which you're not the one having that dream. So why are you the one that's actually pushing it? You're working to make sure your family's straight, you know?
Right. Well, what I would say with personal experience with my fiance now, like not going in too much into it, putting too much of her business out there, like with her, when I first met her, it was like she was like on that cusp of giving up on everything that she had built because of her previous relationship. Like, she had been in such a toxic relationship where she had a man telling her, you ain't never gonna be nothing, and you ain't never gonna be able to get that degree, you ain't never gonna be able to do this. And not saying that it's an excuse, but some people just are, I'm not gonna say weak-minded, but they easily believe it. Like, if somebody's telling them constantly, like you're not gonna be able to do this, you're not gonna be able to do that, like.
Well, women are most likely more emotional than guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, plus on their period, they're a lot more susceptible to be a lot more emotional.
My fiance, like I don't tell my fiance enough.
It's science.
How proud of her I am, but I have since we've been together, I've sat back and watched people tell her, "Oh, because you got a kid, you're not gonna graduate college. Oh, now you got 2 kids." Like, we had both of our daughters before she finished college. Like, well, I take that back. We had our first kid, and she was 8.5 months pregnant before the second daughter was born. But people was telling her, how you're never gonna be able to finish college with both of these girls. You're never gonna be able to do this. You're never gonna be able to do that. But she was able to do it all because at the end of the day, she still had me in the background. So, like, not trying to take no credit from her. There will be times when trying to be in the middle of doing the paper, and mind you, she's a nurse, and she would fall asleep. Paper due at 12 o'clock. She fell asleep. Like, I would swipe in and finish her paper for her. And she never knew this until she graduated. But I told her, I'm like, China, how you think the paper got turned in, China? Like, you fell asleep, bro. Like, how you think the paper got turned in? Yeah. But it's like, I was fine with doing that because with me, I'm a person, I love to prove people wrong. And you my fiance, so now we gotta prove people wrong. And now at the end of the day, my fiance working her dream job, making more than everybody and her family in mind that was saying, you're not gonna be able to do what you want to do. She's doing it. Like, she's a government working nurse. Like, she's doing what she wants to do.
Don't get me wrong. I'm with people who have that type of attitude. It's just,
absolutely.
Now you don't get that as
much.
And
that's what I'm saying. Every female is not like that.
I don't think it.
And another thing about with women empowerment, I'm not against it. I'm all for it, but. Let's not put it to just black women. Let's say black people as a whole. There's got to be a moment when we stop looking at what we've been through, remember it, understand it, but at some point we got to move forward. Everything can't be, this is holding me back, that's holding me back. Yo, We know what black people been through.
The number
Can
one
we talk
is
about what we about to do?
yes,
and go to
because the
where
number
we
one
going?
is I can't do this because I'm black.
I
Like,
didn't
what does
have
that
a
mean?
father. I didn't.
Yeah,
we all have a story, right? We all have some type of, even the kids who might have money that are black, they still deal with certain things.
Absolutely.
They don't know how much money you have when you're wearing a hoodie and you're walking down the street. So, let's talk about where we can go, because so many times, like, here's a cliche, right? We ever seen that ghetto black girl who works at a fast food restaurant or something, and the moment some type of authority speaks to her, she just loses it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, well, I don't know how to talk to people because my mama or my... At the end of the day, at that moment, you're making a decision. You could just say nothing, right?
Because based on that, I think people oftentimes will make excuses for themselves, like you were saying, and not look at it in the sense like, okay, I know this is why I have this issue. How can I resolve it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People don't look for solutions. They just look at problems and they take the problem for what it is.
Right.
And they don't try to fix it.
And
the minute you identify a problem, it becomes your responsibility to fix it.
Absolutely. And I feel like, and like y'all, I'm not gonna sit here and like make everything sound like I'm a model citizen or anything. I was that same person.
You've been
maybe
in jail like 6 times.
Huh? I've never been in jail. But I was that same person like maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I don't know. However long me and my manager been working together, I was that person that amount of time ago. So whenever I started photography, I would say I can't do this, that, and the third or whatever because my father wasn't there for me. I'm a black kid in America. I'm this, I'm that, and I'm the third or whatever. But then sometimes you just need that person to come up to you and be like, "Hey, look, nigga, like no, like you can change this today, right now."
And
like,
that's another point. Yeah. That's another really good point. There's nothing wrong with working on people. There's nothing wrong with giving up your extra time or trying to help people change. Everybody nowadays is like, I'm on my good energy, and if you not, then I'm not for you. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. If somebody's straight up hating on you, you can't mess with that.
No, sir.
But that doesn't mean you can't pull someone up that's down. And I feel like now that whole concept of, I got my energy here, you're forgetting about that as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I feel it.
You're on your high horse.
Forget where you came from.
Forget where you
came from.
Are you saying you're forgetting the people that are not doing so well?
You don't even have to know them. It's just the fact, like,
certain people help you get over hurt. Yeah.
If you're a human being, you've had low days, you've been embarrassed, you felt ashamed, you've had all types of situations like that, and you've had your highs. When you have your highs, it's all about balance. I feel like it's so easy nowadays for people to just pick the quick narrative. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you see a story and you see something funny, you won't even finish to hear the rest of the content. You'll take what you heard and be like, "Oh, that sounds ridiculous." Yeah. You won't even let, like, the Kanye situation. Like, don't get me wrong, there was a couple stupid things he said, but overall,
there was some.
If you had just looked at the TMZ or this, that, and the third place, you would have thought he just said the wildest, most craziest thing.
Because that's what they highlight.
It's like, okay, it's a little stupid, it's a little misguided, but
that
it
was
ain't
the same thing
racist.
with Chris Brown and Rihanna. When they saw her face, how
they
beat up she was.
Chris
Brown beat the... I mean, he did, though, but they don't know the context behind everything that happened and conspired between them or what led up to that.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's
it's
another...
still no excuse for... Because if you watch Chris Brown's documentary, he still went on and said, "This is what I know because this is what I saw my pops do to my mom. So this is what I know." So the excuse is still there. But it's like, when are you going to decide to man up and change that whole narrative about yourself? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, it goes back to, like I said, the first podcast. It's just no excuse at the end of the day. Like, can't nobody say, "I'm not making it because this person is hating on me."
Right.
You cannot say that.
Well, that's one thing, too, is that a lot of people, like, even in that Chris Brown situation, regardless of how fucked up it was for him to do what he did, like, people never... They don't do the due diligence to find out the story, what happened. They don't do the due diligence to, like most people in America don't know Chris Brown personally.
Yeah.
So you don't know what he's been through. You don't know what's led up to that because, like, I obviously I'm not justifying what he did, but what I'm saying is, if you grew up the same situations that he did, I don't know exactly all his situations,
right?
But say he had a really messed up life that messed him up mentally. You could have been, if you were in his shoes, you could have been in that same exact situation and probably ended up doing the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
Because maybe the things that he went through in his life led up to him being in that mental state.
Absolutely.
To be fucked up.
He was traumatized.
To balance that out, though, there's certain things you can say that, like domestic violence is a deep thing, right?
Absolutely.
But then there's other things like killing people and stuff. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's inexcusable. The
like,
mass shooters and things like that.
Because you gotta say this. You gotta put all the context there for people now, because they'll be like, yeah, okay, I can use that same excuse and do something 10 times worse. It's
what I'm saying is, it's like regardless, like, okay, so not everybody's built the same. Like either way, like Chris Brown, what Chris Brown did, I'm never justifying what he did as right. Never. Okay. I'm never saying it's the right thing. What I'm saying is everybody has a different mental state and everybody has weaknesses and strengths. Like maybe something that I go through, I could be really sad and distraught and, like really messed up from it, but you could go through that same thing and be perfectly fine and deal with it very strongly.
What people hate to admit is that as human beings, we do have a lot of similarities, and there has to be some type of standard. You're right, it was wrong, and maybe he does have some mental issues, but then you have that same social responsibility to know, okay, I'm well known. I'm in a situation where I'm dealing with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know you're that type of person, and I wouldn't want Chris Brown to do it, but if you can't handle it, stop being a musician.
But the thing that's crazy though, the thing that
and be on the low.
It's not that easy.
I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying. Again, man.
I know what you're saying.
Once you go through something, you gotta just push for solutions.
But the thing,
I don't want to.
The thing I feel,
you're right though.
The thing I feel with Chris Brown too is like at the end of the day, because obviously after the Rihanna situation, Chris Brown continuously got in more trouble and more trouble. Because at the end of the day with Chris know his fans are still gonna be there regardless. Chris Brown could probably beat Rihanna
now,
again.
That's a good reason. If that was a fact, that's a good reason to stop liking an artist.
Yes, but they didn't.
If an artist really said, "Hey, I can do whatever I want, and you guys are still gonna rock,"
it's
like
proven.
Kind of like R. Kelly's attitude.
Yeah, R. Kelly did.
R. Kelly's attitude is kind of like that.
No, R. Kelly.
Like, no,
it is, but it shouldn't be.
R. Kelly has his fans that he knows.
Bro, did you know R. Kelly? Did you know R. Kelly just dropped the album?
No, but I did see he was like.
I heard he had an album where he apologized for a song.
Who bought that? Who bought that?
Didn't he have like
people listen to it though.
It was a 15-minute song, and then
people
it was a whole album.
listen to it. I don't think this is
ain't nobody bought the album though. Nobody bought the album. Chris Brown beat Rihanna and sold 1 million records.
Did you see the joke on the Boondocks? How they had it was really Chris Brown, but they called him Young Fleazy.
Yeah, I know you're talking
about. And the girl was you can whoop my ass, Chris Brown.
I'm weak,
I was like, that was a good point though, because it's mad women that still want Chris Brown. And my thing is that goes to that, women, y'all can get on us about some of the things we do. At some point, we're gonna bring somebody up here to dog the guys out. But right now, it ain't no girls. That goes to one of the primitive things with women, like, I want this kind of man, that kind of man, this kind of man. And don't get me wrong, look, man. If the man look like Tiger Woods and you don't want him because you think he's ugly, I mean, that's life. Sometimes you're just not attracted to people.
You think Tiger Woods ugly?
I'm just making up something. He was like, I was just curious. He's like the nerdy black guy. You know what I'm saying? Just making it up.
Wearing high waters.
Exactly.
Shirt.
Bro, you gotta understand though, but nerdy dudes is what's in right now. Like I'm gonna stick by
my
that's kind of true.
My point is though is that a woman will deal with some of those things and not even look at that type of. And guys do it too, but again, we talking from the male perspective.
Right.
Women saw Chris Brown do that, and to this day will still jump to be with a Chris Brown before they'll be with the
that's
nice
just
guy.
Them, though. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just them. You're gonna have that regardless.
But let's be real. Let's not do the whole look at this one individual. As a whole, right? Men and women, we've really got to check ourselves because all right. Let me get on the men. So we want this super bad chick, right? That we also want her to be super responsible with her looks because we don't want her doing all this, promiscuous stuff. Even though obviously the better you look, the more opportunity you're gonna have, the more people are gonna be coming at you, right? We want her to be social and everybody know her and love her, but then we want nobody to be close to her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're kind of generalizing because I don't necessarily want that. And
I'm
not all men are like that.
I'm not talking.
I know
about
what you.
one,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, if we can't generalize how a lot of people are,
oh, okay.
There would be no Instagram if what I'm saying had no truth to it. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yes. As some of us men, we grow up and we realize. Because I can even say I had a point in time where I was a little shallow. Like yo, my chick. As I grew and became a man, I'm like, wait,
you wanted more.
I want this. Yeah, I want this. I want that. And don't get me wrong, I still want. You know what I'm saying? Nice looking wife, you know what I mean? But that ain't the only thing that I'm looking for. And what I'm saying is, as people as a whole,
you have to find somebody that just balances you at the end of the day. Like, that's all it comes down to. And it's from, like I said, experience once again. I feel like me and my fiance balance each other. Like, where she's weak is where I excel and vice versa. So it's like we can check each other. Checks and balances. That's all it is at the end of the day. And it's like growing up, same like you were saying, I would have never thought myself would have ended up with a darker skinned female, like ever in high school. I didn't say that, but no, I'm saying that. Like, I'm being honest. Like, I had no attraction to dark skinned females. I had no attraction to them at all, honestly, until I met my fiance. I don't have a reason. I really don't. I just never looked their way. I'm not gonna say I wasn't attracted to them. Yeah. I just never looked their way. Until I met my fiance, and then it was just like, damn. And then it's like my fiance, I don't care. I tell this story many times. So pretty much when I first met my fiance, she thought she was gonna hit it and quit it with me, but it didn't happen that way.
Oh, so you was a piece of ass.
She thought I was.
Oh, okay.
She thought I was, but
you trapped her.
Condom slipped off real quick because it just happened that way. So, and she ignored me for like a week and a half. She ignored me.
Think she would want to just. Do that and just us men, we never think that, right?
I mean,
well, one thing I think is key is that when you're trying to find somebody, I feel like you got to know who yourself is.
Definitely.
Like one thing.
He sounded like he was about to get sentimental.
I was.
No, I
He's trying to bag somebody as he explained it.
No, because I was trying to get to the point that, at least in high school, one valuable lesson I learned to be able to find out who I wanted to be or whatever was that you have to be willing to try new things and be open to new ideas.
Absolutely.
Even ones you disagree with. Like, even when I'm 100% right about something and somebody tells me I'm wrong, I still question it.
Right.
Just to make sure. Like, that's their reassurance. Or even just try to get in their perspective, like, why they even think that way. Even if they were wrong.
Absolutely.
Like, and that's how you open yourself up to new ideas and you start growing as a person. And then you find somebody that kind of relates to that, or at least is on that same page. Because a lot of people, they don't have guidance. Like, I didn't grow up with a father in my life, and my mom worked 2 jobs, so I didn't have much guidance to help me, guide me. I was lucky to figure that out, but a lot of kids don't grow up with that, that good support to be able to show them, like, this is what you need to grow as an adult. They kind of just
Anthony they're looking just explain why black men cheat.
Did I?
he just gave all of us.
Depending on how you talk to it, though.
Nah, men don't cheat. So.
I agree with what all y'all have said. And in regards to relationships and what you was referencing earlier, with everybody wants to bash chick and stuff like that, we as people in society need to realize that nobody's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect man or perfect woman. Yeah. If a girl has great looks, she probably has, not to generalize, but she could have mental issues. She could have emotional issues. She could have some type of
an asshole.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Because if you look good, that means that you have a certain lifestyle that you're accustomed to, and have a certain attention that you're accustomed to receiving. Mm-hmm. So chances are, if you get all this attention from people, you think that you're better than everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Just naturally, because you always get that attention, you always get that feedback from everybody. So now that you think you're better than everybody, you're gonna put yourself up on this pedestal that you can get anything you want, you can have anyone you want, and then that leads to mental issues because now you think that you can play with other people and their emotions.
Yeah, bro, you just explained B House and Woodside High School.
Well, can I say something though?
Tell me I'm lying. Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
No, go
Everybody ahead. Who hung out in B House wasn't. A lot of people were, but everyone wasn't.
90% of that B House.
Can I say something?
Shout out to the non-assholes.
Because I feel like the key thing what you just said was like, because a lot of people nowadays, definitely on social media, have a lot to say about other people.
Yeah.
But at least my opinion and how I feel about it is, don't be willing to say something or judge somebody unless you're willing to do the due diligence to understand somebody.
Right.
Like people say a lot of stuff about people that they don't know that well. You don't even have a close connection with them. You don't know the ins and outs of them.
Yeah, you're just going off based on what you see.
People are so quick to judge somebody based off of something they saw or their outside appearance. Like you said, some people see a girl that's super hot, got all these guys, or maybe she even has pictures that are like super sexy, and that, of course that looks away. I even feel some way about it when I first see it.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't know what that girl's been through. You don't know how her personality actually. You don't know the way she carries herself. Because even if she does carry herself that way in the internet, it doesn't necessarily mean she's a hoe. But I know guys, we see that, and it's a deterrent though.
But it's not just for looking at women. So all right, for anybody, you know, if you dress like this or you do that and you put that perception out there, don't get upset when people have that expectation of you.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance, right? So there can't be a world where nobody judges, right? Because I mean, then you be sweet as pie out here in these streets, right? But at the same time, you don't want to overdo it. So, you know, if you don't want to be looked at as a promiscuous person, male or female, then don't put it out there. Like, because some people, this whole attitude of,
Can I say something real quick? I think that promiscuity thing, or promiscuity, whatever, I think that concept is, I don't want to say only applicable to women, but it is majority applicable to women, because I don't see how a man can dress promiscuously. I just
a man can make himself look like he sleeps with a lot of women. He can
make himself seem like very popular.
It's kind of subjective though.
The popularity,
Trey
I feel like
whole discography,
like the sexy dude.
Right, Trey Songz, so Trey Songz is selfie, but he's a celebrity. He has a platform to put that information out. I can't just go on Facebook and just look like, so I don't
look at men the same way women look at men. Hasn't a woman ever looked at you and said, "Oh, you look like a hoe"? You ain't did or said no.
I've heard I'm like a player.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've heard
Okay,
not a hoe, but look like a player.
I've heard both. Right? To me, it's the same thing. So you didn't necessarily do something. It's just the fact that from their perception,
it's just subjective. Yeah, that's how that person felt, and then another person could be like, "You look fine,"
but that's something that you can't help.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I can't change somebody's perception.
That's you judging before you know me.
That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying.
But sometimes people do things that make it look like they're doing something.
But
and in certain things you can't just be, and that's where I was about to go before he had made his point.
Go ahead.
So it's certain things, right? Everybody does things, right, that they know look one way, and then hit you with but it's how you interpret it. No, some things are just the way they are.
I mean, but I feel like our generation is closed minded because you can have a dude that is a fitness trainer. Yeah. If he takes pictures with his shirts off, oh, this nigga just trying to be sexy every day, or this nigga just trying to promote his business.
That was a great example.
Or he just trying to promote his business.
All right, so I see women, right? I'm not gonna call them names, but I even know some women. They work out on Instagram, right? Now, when I see dudes work out on the internet, I hardly ever see their butt. It's just not something you put out there, even when they're doing squats.
Oh, you mean even
when they're doing squats, even when they're doing stuff that would make them poke their back area out. Okay. You don't. If you're truly just working out, you don't see that. But then you'll have a woman who almost every workout you see her butt. I mean, because she could be doing pull-ups. And you see
but let me tell you, I can tell you this though, as a person who went to college for massage therapy and the study of reflexology, females have to work out differently than males do because of the anatomy of our body.
I understand that, but you still have a choice.
So, like for example, like
the angle of the camera,
right?
Exactly.
And they'll put the camera like at an angle.
So are you referring? Look at it at this point. Look at it at this point though. Look at it from this point. Are you referring to females who are like? Do they have a bigger following that are working out? Like, this is their business? This is their job?
It shouldn't matter because at the end of the day...
But you have to understand the market, bro. Sex sells.
Right. So let me give you that, right? Sex sells. So if you decide to succumb to that, don't get upset that people look at you and think sex because you're selling it. I'm selling you gangster rap, right?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, now we know there's fake people in the game, but the whole point is if I am fake, then I'm gonna get exposed. Why? Because the energy I'm giving you is not the same thing
Absolutely.
I actually.
But the same reason how you just made that point is we understand our generation, and we know 9 times out of 10 what's going on that internet screen is fake. So get to know that person before you make that judgment.
Well, yeah,
but that's not fair because that person is giving you the representation. But that's
just the generation that we live in,
like,
bro. It's the fake it till you make it generation.
You can't keep saying it though. You can't as you practice things over and over, you become it. Become what you
Eric,
do every day.
Like what I was saying before was, this was my basic point. If it wasn't clear, that everybody's gonna have judgments. Like you're gonna judge everybody. But what I was saying earlier was just if you're gonna talk about somebody out in public. Like, cause I have thoughts about people. When I see stuff like that, I think certain stuff about like a girl that's doing stuff like that.
But you keep it to yourself.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I keep it to myself. If you're gonna go out in public and say, and you can, like, it's a free speech. I get
course.
that. But I'm just saying, if you are gonna do that and not do the due diligence, then what you have to say doesn't really hold any weight.
I just, again, it's so much with balance, cause it's certain things like, let's say it's an extreme, but DC snipers, right? I'm glad that people are still, if they had an Instagram, I'd be happy if somebody was still calling them a scumbag today. In certain things, we need judgment and we need shame, or people would just do anything.
But I understand that. But then, okay, so let's take it like this. You know me. Do I give off the image to y'all that I'm a hoe, that I'm a male whore?
No,
at all in any way. Okay, but I get that perspective though.
You don't carry yourself.
I don't, but I still get it. And you know why? Because as a photographer, I shoot more females than males. That conception does not make sense to me at all.
But see, that's totally different because you're not in any way purposefully portraying that.
But I'm still getting portrayed. But I'm still getting portrayed as
right.
know him.
But that's where that balance comes into play, right? Well, I wouldn't be the one judging that what he's doing based on that with the information I know.
Hey, but that's what I'm saying.
But here's the difference. If he only shot naked women models every single day, my perception of him would be different.
And that's fine.
But
you can think that.
At what point? So basically, what you're saying is you can do anything on the internet, and then you can turn around and say, "Hey, I'm not that guy." That's not
20 minutes later.
Wanted to do.
No, but she did it to do what she wants to do.
So be concise. What exactly are you making a point? Because we've been talking about this for like 20 minutes.
It kind of got the apples and oranges a little bit, but the point,
I think
the point is there's a balance.
Right?
Yeah, there needs to be a balance and responsibility between what you're trying to say people are interpreting and what the actual truth is. If you do so, if I go gamble every day on Instagram, and I'm not really a gambler, and somebody puts on my Instagram, "You're a gambler," I can't turn around and be like, "Oh, don't assume I'm a gambler just because you see me gambling every day on Instagram." It's
so,
like, dude, that's
all right. So let me ask you that.
What are you saying?
How often do you see people calling people out on social media?
A lot of times.
Eric, honestly. What? How often do you see people on your timeline?
Like regular people?
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but how often do you see this on your timeline?
Sometimes I see it way more subliminal. Now,
it'll be subliminal.
Of
course. Right. So, in regards to
that goes back to the point that I made, because when you asked me that conversation I had with Dude, it's because I call him out for something like that.
Right. Okay. So I see what you're saying. So, with that being said, I understand what you're saying, but when you're talking about social media, you're talking about something.
Me too.
So you about to mess up my train of thought. You're talking about social media. You're talking about a platform that people can portray any message they want to portray. So if I want to portray that I'm successful, I could portray I'm successful, and I could be the biggest failure in the world. People that don't know me see me as I portray myself. Agreed, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So why do I have to have a balance of responsibility with that? Why do I owe people the truth of my life? I don't.
No.
What I'm saying is, if you put out a certain image, just don't get upset if you read.
You're talking about people that get upset about it.
So how many people do that though? Everybody claims they're being
I'm not saying
they're being bullied on the internet.
You saying how many?
Who, Eric?
All right, let me give you one example of somebody I really don't like and feel like that's part of it.
Don't name
Amber Rose.
Oh, Amber Rose.
Oh, you're a celebrity, okay.
She is a hoe. She is a skank, and she want to act all sensitive and upset and ready to cry when somebody call her ass a hoe.
You said keyword act.
Well, I can't.
So she
attest to
doesn't.
whether
So
she
she's not
acted.
portraying
You don't
herself
know.
as that.
I don't
and
know
not
Amber Rose.
being so listen. So she's not portraying herself as a hoe and saying, "Oh, I'm an angel. I'm a saint." She's saying she's a hoe. She does the slut walk.
Yeah.
She admits that she's a hoe.
She
trying to
says that she loves
She's trying
sex,
to change the definition of being a hoe.
said she's
so that
trying
the
to?
word works for her.
But she's
How
not
do you-
hiding
she
that.
said
That's what I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah, she
No,
said that.
no,
Hiding
yes, she
anything.
is because she's trying to change the definition.
Has
of
she
it.
said
She's
that?
trying-
What you just said? Is she trying to change the
What she's
definition?
trying- what
Did she
she's trying
say
to
that?
do-
That's what the whole slut walk is about. Is changing the
Is
way
it?
people perceive what a slut
No.
and a hoe is.
I don't look at it
The
that way.
purpose of the
I
slut
don't
walk
know.
is for people to accept people for who they are. If somebody wants to be,
Right,
That's
but
what
there
I
has to
was
be
promiscuous,
but there
let them
has to
do
be
that.
some type of standard, because when you do that and you say no, everybody's different, then you get real mixed up. The reason why people, not gonna say the only reasons, but a big reason why people try, even men that want to be hoes, try to keep some exclusivity to who they have sex with, is because it can be dangerous. So when you go tell a motherfucker, oh, love you for who you want to be, and then fucking HIV rises up, then you want to be like, oh, well, maybe we should have had some kind of fucking standard. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I
that
get what you're
bothers
saying.
me when people do that. Like the rap game. You can never tell nobody they song sucks now. It's different. It's not your lane. No, some of this stuff sucks, and some of it's not ever gonna get the views that you
some
think it's
people
gonna
do.
get.
Like
It's gotta
Charlamagne
have
calls it out
some
sometimes.
type
So,
I
here,
don't like
but
it.
here's how I look at music, and here's why I say that you can't necessarily say certain people's music suck, because if you're in, there's musicians and then there's artists. If you're a musician, yes, you can say certain people's music suck because you're thinking of music in the terms of keys, notes, instruments, things of that point. But as an artist, there's no limitation to art. So if you want to go in GarageBand and throw tomatoes and make a noise and say that that's your music, that's your art, nobody can tell you that your art sucks.
And that's part of the problem.
But actually, because I
You
actually
don't think
played.
the art is subjective?
I actually play.
Bruh,
I actually
you're
play
basically saying I
guitar.
can take a dump on a sheet of paper, and I can say it's art.
There's-
Yes,
there-
I know technically you can say it's art, but there's got to be some type of freaking.
I know
standard.
But just because
I
it's
know what
art
you're
doesn't mean
saying.
it's gonna pop though. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but I'm saying
Art
yo,
is in the eye of the beholder.
If Sherman's not a person that's really good at drawing, and he tries to draw one of these album covers and it looks ridiculous, I'm not gonna send him out there. Yes, we all know. Look, they talk about this all the time. If you're the type of person who tries to attack a business by saying, if I only get this percentage of the market, I'll win, you'll never win. So if you're gonna be that guy who says, okay, if 1 billion people hear my song, I know at least 100,000 people will buy my single, then yeah, go for that. Well, I'm talking about, there's gotta be something with humans nowadays to where we all agree about something. Everything
it's
is
just-
always
I think
about
it's the
your
way you're
lane.
wording it, because you're saying you got to, but in reality, nobody has to do anything. That's just what you want from.
Because you
That's
got-
what you're
How
saying. Is that
would
what
we have
you want?
clothes if people didn't agree on how a shirt should be shaped?
But a lot of people don't though, because like a
What do you
lot of
mean?
people to this day will still say that Supreme is whack because of how Supreme was made. But in all actuality,
Don't get
you
me
can call
wrong, it's
Supreme whack all you
subjective,
want.
yeah.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong,
It's
it's
all
Bro, listen to
subjective,
me
but-
on this. Just hear me out on this. To this day, people will tell me that my photography compared to professional photography is garbage because I don't play by the rules. I don't believe in symmetry. Symmetry is the most boringest fucking form of photography I've ever seen in my fucking life because it's playing by the fucking rules. What is so dope about me taking a picture of this microphone straight ahead? What makes that dope? Nothing. But okay, for instance, with a t-shirt, if I was to take that picture from right here straight on of this, it would not have the same dynamic of me getting on this floor with my camera, pointing my camera upside up and taking it from the bottom. It adds a new dynamic to it. To me,
So let me flip
It's
the.
all
Let me
That's
flip
what
the-
makes it
All right,
art.
so
Some
let me-
people like
let me-
traditional
so let me
art.
flip
Some
the-
people
Yes.
like
Let me flip
edgy
the theory
stuff.
for you then. I get that part, and I agree with that part.
he really flipped the mic though. Like,
Yeah.
So let's.
That's
take
when he
it-
get
let's
his
take it to-
bag. He
let's
be
take it
like,
back to-
"Yo, hold on."
Look. Let's take it back to the music. So, could I assume, right? Because you say you can't tell nobody if their stuff is dope or not.
You
Which
can. No,
Art,
you can.
Music is different. Like, okay, for
Well, we
instance,
were-
I actually disagree with you though, but go ahead.
cause like, okay, it's like, okay, for instance, I know we said we weren't gonna name drop, but at this point I am. Masego. To me, Masego is not a musician. He's an artist. in my
he's a
opinion.
musician and an artist.
But the reason why I say he's a musician because who else has made that type of music? Nobody. He created that for
He
himself.
still plays the instrument.
Absolutely. So he's still a
He's a
musician to a
musician,
certain extent, but
Okay.
I would consider him an artist because he created something new.
So let me give you a new dynamic.
So nobody can tell nobody what I'm saying. Nobody can tell him that is trash.
Right.
Nobody can tell
Masego
Masego that trap jazz is trash.
Okay.
So
what's the point?
So if you can't tell somebody whether their shit is trash or not, which is part of the fun part of listening to the music, can you say that The Weeknd? You can't say The Weeknd is better than you. You go sing the same Dirty Diana and you try to sing it like him, and somebody got the damn nerve to tell y'all that it's subjective. Yes, it is. In fact, it is completely subjective.
Music
but
is
if you're gonna be
subjective.
honest about it, and if we're gonna actually have some type of life, you know you can't sing better than him.
So, Eric,
But because you recorded it and you love it so much, you in a different lane. No, you can't sing as good as
I
The
know
Weeknd.
what
So
you're
like
saying.
you're not as good.
I feel like
everybody doesn't
Let
get a
Sherm
blue
have it.
ribbon.
Go ahead, Sherm.
Everybody doesn't
So
get a blue ribbon, man.
I like what the discussion is going, but I'm gonna end this topic with this. We're all talking about subjective matters, whereas you're being objective. You can't be objective with things that are subjective, and you can't get hung up on how things should be.
I
when
think
you're
my
in
You just
the world.
want a
I
standard,
think
but it
my
doesn't
whole
have to
point
be.
in this, no. My whole point is
Mm-hmm.
there has to be a balance. There has to be. Hey, I know that every individual is different, but in order for us to be able to get things done, like for instance, what workout plan would there be, right? If everybody was like every workout plan is different, we understand everybody's different, everybody eats different, but we've come up with a food pyramid. Why? Because we've got to agree on something. There has to be some type of standard, or else
Some
things
people
will just
disagree
go
with the
out of
food pyramid.
The
whack.
food pyramid has changed many times.
I know.
There is a standard that is
It
a certain
changes,
amount of
but
things,
it's
but they
going
change.
off a huge sample of people.
Things are
I
evolving.
understand.
So
They
then there's no
evolve, they
point in
change.
comparing any two things. Then, if that's the point, that you can
Subjective
never compare
things.
It's
any-
no,
subjective.
not. Yeah, subjective. Like art is no point in comparing it. It's not, bro.
So you can look with things with subjective. You can do
So how
whatever
can
you
how
want.
can
It's
you
an
price
opinion.
art? How can you figure out who's on the show and who's not?
Here's the
Like,
thing.
you do whatever you want.
Here's the
If it's
thing. You
subjective,
do what
I
you
can
want.
try.
If it's
that
subjective,
person-
it's different.
Okay,
Subjective is
say for
opinion.
instance that me and you are both rappers, right?
I get what you're saying.
No,
I
just hear me
completely
out.
Get it?
It-
but-
it's so you rap and you audition. I rap and I audition. He's the judge. He subjectively likes my shit better. He's gonna book me for his show. You could be the better MC, but he feels like I'm gonna rock his show.
Right,
better.
now let's do something more obvious. If me and you go perform and then Michael Jackson comes out the dead and performs, guess what? I wouldn't blame 99% of the people that were judging if it was a group of 100 judging to say, I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson's gonna win. And what I'm saying is everybody's thinking has been so misconstrued now and so sensitive to the point where you can't even agree on that. Like, now you don't know if of course we don't know. Of course there could be one person out of a bunch who actually likes me dancing and I can't dance better than Michael Jackson.
Okay.
But there has to be some type of standard so that when I go up on camera and I go like this, you don't say, well, technically that could be better than Michael Jackson doing his set. No, it's not better than Michael Jackson.
But-
even though, yes, technically, subjectively, if you think me doing this is better than a full set from Michael Jackson, you're right. That could happen. But that's what I think is kind of sick. It's like, come on, man.
That's
like,
what I've been saying.
Come on.
That's what I've been saying.
Like,
You
got
that's
want
majority
there to
versus
be a
minority.
standard.
Yeah.
That's all that
I
is.
just, yeah, man.
That's
'cause
always gonna be.
I
the thing.
like, because, like, okay, if there's no standard, then who can break the mold?
There is.
You know what I'm
There
saying?
is a standard.
And,
bro. I don't
redefine
understand.
that standard. I feel like there is no standard.
In
Like,
regards,
to
okay,
his
so in regards
point-
to what?
Go ahead.
Specifically.
In hip hop, it's barely any standard anymore. Poopity Scoop made you figure that out. You can do anything,
Look,
and these people
Eric,
are just back whatever.
Eric, to
Like,
his
Nobody.
point, when he was saying about his photography,
this is fire.
when
No,
he
one
was
said
when
that.
he
you
was
see the
saying
video
when
he
he
did
was
it and
saying to
people
his
was going
photography.
off? I'm sorry.
Video when he did what?
When all right. What he was saying about his photography was he was saying there was a standard to photography or something that's traditional,
Absolutely.
but he likes to break that mold because
I break the mold every day,
but
bro.
it opens more possibilities for better creativity,
Yes.
more
I think
creation.
but I think that same thing happens when you actually have a standard. So, for instance, right, if
It
you
can.
can want to be like Hove and transcend it. You get what I'm saying? But if there's no type of standard, it's hard to want to be something like, all right, if
not
there
hard.
was if points in the NBA didn't describe your greatness, then what would be the point? Like, there's got to be a standard. There's got to be something that says,
obviously,
hey, I'm better at this and I'm weaker at that.
Points obviously don't, because LeBron has outscored Michael Jordan in terms of points, but niggas still say that Michael Jordan's better.
Okay,
So it's subjective.
Can
Like,
we all agree to disagree? This is not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I feel
So,
I don't want to
I'm
keep
just
going
gonna
on
keep
about
knocking
this.
the
Include
mic
this. This week's giveaway will be a picture
There you
by
go.
Shiino himself.
no symmetry.
No symmetry.
No symmetry.
No standards.
So can you
It's
tell,
not.
can you give us a little backstory to this picture real quick?
So pretty much
My
this
homies got
picture.
standards.
Oh wow!
I did this picture for my best friend's clothing line, actually. DSNC New York by Janelle Reed. Yeah, we went to a handball court in New York, and we just played with a couple of different looks, and this one just stuck. And it's a very abstract, portrait. It has no standards. It has, it goes back. It's subjective, bro. But the thing,
I think it's hot. So
but you think it's hot, but bro, you want to
we're not
know?
going back to
No,
this.
but seriously though, but you think it's hot. But that picture right there actually only got 7 likes on my Instagram, bro. So that goes back to the point.
Well, that's
like,
fine. It could be a beta on how much exposure it got. Maybe
no,
not that many people. see it.
no. It's not that.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna tell you what it
What
is.
is it?
It's because you can't see a female's face. You don't know that that's a female unless I just told you, and that is a female.
Can you see how many views it got? Is that
Yeah,
what-
yeah. The
So the business page has
my
demographics,
insights.
or not
You have-
demographics,
yeah,
it did
shows
the worst.
the
It did the
analytics.
worst. That
Yeah.
that picture right there did the worst than anything I've ever posted on my Instagram.
So it got relatively the same amount of views as, like, say for instance, like a female.
Yeah, it still got the
It just got
views.
less likes.
Yeah, people overlooked it.
Okay.
They overlooked it.
That's just
because
what
it's actual art. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, that's abstract art, and people don't want to see that.
It's just not what the vast
I'm just
majority
saying, when
was
I take a
into.
dump on a canvas and I tell y'all that's the firest thing that ever came out, I don't want to hear nothing.
I wouldn't say
No,
so.
I might not be into it. I might not like the sound off.
Junction.
not
Y'all know what
here,
to do
that's
for the
fine.
giveaway. All you gotta do is share the video.
What?
Share it
And
on
make sure y'all
Facebook.
and make sure
I
y'all
know
share
you didn't.
the video and don't get tight when somebody win because you don't share the
Oh,
video.
Right,
All
yeah,
right.
you can't get mad if you ain't share the
Okay,
video.
okay.
You can share the video as many times you want. You get your name input as many times as you want as well. So
But you
I'm muting
can't
both
win
of
it
y'all's
if you're
mics at
actually
the
on
end.
the pack.
You say you doing
Yeah,
what?
what's-
I'm
Get
muting
your
both y'all's
man,
mic for this last minute. 'cause y'all
I'm
keep talking
weak.
over